everybody, and welcome to Langer's Legion. I'm Langer, and let's talk Star Wars Legion. And today we're doing a Langer's Legion live podcast. I'm joined by my homies Stefan Hines and Tyler Smith. Hello, fellas.
Hello, guys.
Hey, guys. And we're here to recap almost a week ago, just because of schedules and stuff. We all played in a local store championship tournament, and I thought we would just highlight our rounds, talk about our list, talk about how things went. That store championship was for I'll call it my local store out here in Gig Harbor called Lost Star Gaming, and I'll put a link below for folks that are interested for the game link.
Shout out to Lost Star.
Yeah.
And Travis ran it. He did a great job.
Great job.
Yeah. So I thought we would recap just a little bit. So let me pull up the tables just so let's talk about tables just real quick. I'll switch that over. Hopefully you all are seeing that. So we had 10 tables. There were 20 folks that showed up. As you can kind of see from the screen, we had some Hoth tables. We had some indoor tables. Yeah, I know Travis had some terrain. The gentleman that ran it, the store had some terrain. Izzy brought some terrain from Evergreen Legion, which is an event that we did back in, was that August? I think. I can't even remember.
Yeah,
August. I think Francois brought some terrain. So yeah, a lot of good terrain from the community. Hoth table, that was this is like the indoor table. Going the wrong way. Desert themed table, Tatooine. The thing, I played on this table. Did anybody else play on this table?
No, I didn't.
I played on that table.
Okay.
I did not.
That was my first match right there against Izzy.
Yeah, it was a great table, but that thing in the upper left, like that big area
giant area terrain.
Yeah, it like you breathed on it and it would move. It would
move. I felt so bad because I put my pieces on there and I kept bumping it, and I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said I played, I think, on the second game. Yeah, and I bumped it, and it not only would it like slightly move, Tyler, like I'm talking about it would like lazy Susan almost spin. So you were
like that one time we played on that Wookiee terrain where your Boba Fett was in the middle, and I poked it and it just goes.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing. So
you just
it was like that. It was so annoying to play with, but other than that, the rest of that table was great.
Yeah, it was fun. I just feel bad because I was the guy that was on it, so I was very oh, dude, I bumped
it.
Same,
I was on it, and I was bumping it, and it was awful.
That's the best thing about an opponent. Like, when you're playing an opponent and you bump a terrain or even a model, and it's way out of where he should be, you're so apologetic. You're like,
yeah,
I just screwed up the whole dynamic of this match. Because
we all know the inches matter, right?
Yeah. Inches matter.
Yeah, at some point, early on, maybe not, but maybe if you're doing Implacable with Vader, you're trying to get melee, and all of a sudden you bumped him, and you either moved him a little bit closer than he was, or a little bit further out, and now you're like, oh, I can't get into base contact, all right, now I can. Yeah. And you're like, wait a minute, you were further back. There's no way you should have been able to do that.
I mean, let's admit the best Legion games are the close games.
Oh, for sure.
And so when you're getting into the dynamics of exact movements, exact ranges, and you bump terrain and you screw that up, even if your opponent's winning, you feel like you kind of just threw the match in a way.
You put
you gave yourself an edge accidentally, or you gave him an edge accidentally, so now you feel bad, right?
You're trying to tell me the best games are the ones where you table your opponent?
No, those aren't fun.
No, I'm just teasing.
Those are not fun.
I'm just teasing. And then we had I'll call this a Mustafar table. or lava table.
Great table.
We had this table at Evergreen, and then a Geonosis theme table, for lack of, that's what I'm assuming. And I think that was all the tables I took pictures of, or I have pictures of, again, from Travis on the Lost Star Discord. So Travis, thank you for the pictures. I'm stealing them for the purpose of this. But anyways, that was a couple of the tables. Great event overall. I had a blast. We'll get into obviously a little bit more of maybe why that was for me or for other folks. Let's talk a little about the event, right? So it took place last Sunday. So what was that? October 8th, if my math is right. We had 20 players. Out of those 20 players, we had 3 GARs, 6 Rebels, 8 Empire, and 3 CIS. And from this pod, I'm one of the Empires. Tyler, you've got the Grieve. You're one of the separatists, and then Stefan,
I was a
one
guard
of the
player.
few. One of the few. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually
I'm
surprised.
surprised there are so
Proud
few
and the
guard
brave.
players, honestly.
Say again, Steph?
Our area, I said, I'm surprised there are so few guard players, but I do know our area is definitely the prequels era.
Yeah, it's because we're old. People like me that are old, they're like,
Right.
yeah. I mean, now the prequels look pretty good compared to the sequel trilogy,
Hayden
but that's a whole other
is finally
podcast.
getting the appreciation he deserves.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's by us.
Finally.
By
Yeah.
us.
And I just feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
I've said this to Tyler, the Empire, like the bad guys always get the cool things because they always have to come up with new things for the good guys to fight. So the Empire, right? They just have cool units. We even saw in Mini Extravaganza, they're getting another couple new units and whatnot. But that was
Another discussion.
Another discussion. But that was the faction breakdown. Let's talk about lists really quick. So I'm gonna scoot over here and let's see. I think I can get into the lists. Let's talk about Stefan. Let's talk about your list first because I think you finished higher.
My list. It's the same list as my last tournament. The 5-0 first has Anakin with Force Push and Force Barrier.
All right.
Clone Commander with nothing. 2 Phase 2s with the Medic. 3 Arc Squads with the DC-15, Echo, and a Strike Team, and then a Naked Bark Speeder.
Yeah, look at all that. All right.
What is your list supposed to do? What are you trying to? What are you trying to?
I'm trying to just whittle down trooper units at range to hopefully, if I am blue player, which I tend to not take blue player, but if I am, I'm trying to play usually key positions or intercept the transmissions. And a lot of people usually have key positions in their battle deck because it's a very safe objective mode to play.
So you're looking for kind of like a table list, like a list you're gonna pump wounds into. A list.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be pumping in wounds and then getting close near the end and make sure I've taken out the units I need to win the objective.
Yeah. I'm curious, out of the 3 games you played, you've got I'm pulling up your 9 acts, 797. So not a bid, but not an extreme bid. Did you win the bid very many times?
I won the bid in every single game, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No kidding.
Which doesn't happen much at all.
Yeah. I was saying, I wanted to make a quick comment. And in competitive play, I would say that a lot of the bids are 795 or lower every time you face an opponent.
Yeah.
I feel like it.
Well, I feel
my
like those
first
are lists
opponent was at 800. My second opponent, I think, was at like 799, and then my third opponent was at like 798. So they all spent the points they could, and they fell at the same range where it's like, oh, what am I going to spend? I have 3 points. Like, what can I get that's good? And I don't think just
points, right?
Recon Intel, but
I'm just kidding.
It would go on my Phase 2s. Or my clone commander, I think.
Right.
So I can't go on Anakin, and I'm not really trying to get my clone commander or my medic squads out there that early.
Yeah.
I don't even, for the most part, scout out my ARC troopers, and they have scout too.
Yeah, because again, you're playing that range game, like you mentioned. All right, Mr. Tyler, I pulled up your list really quick. So you were one of the 3 separatists, like we mentioned, but you're at the full 800 points, 9 acts.
I'm probably going to take up the most time to talk about this list, which I do apologize.
That's right. I have final edit control. So
for anyone ahead of time. So I know a front look at my list. So I had a bunch of comments going into this tournament with 3 pikes, Cad Bane, and Maul. Almost immediately, every opponent I fought had no idea I was taking droids. They had no idea. I'm not kidding. Every opponent thought I was taking Shadow Collective.
Yeah, it would make sense, right?
And I didn't realize this going into my matches. Seeing the 3 pikes, seeing Maul, Cad Bane, it's like, what do you mean it's Shadow Collective? Because like to me, it's like I got B1s.
Yeah.
I have a super tack here. But over half my army is a Shadow Collective lookalike. I have 3 Pikes, Cad Bane, and Maul. So
I mean,
it's
let's talk about that. Like, you're really only bringing 4 droids, right? 3
4 droids.
B1s and a super tac. So I can see where folks would think that, but
This was a super unique list for me, and I've been playing droids quite aggressively, I should say, ahead of time. So anybody looking into this, looking into my list, why did you take this? I was looking to get those saber throw peaks, kind of like the way the Cad Bane works,
yeah.
where you get that steady, you get the move across, shoot out, move back. So with Maul, once he got wounded, I can move out, saber throw, move back. Um, but where I was constantly making my mistake is that I would put Cad Bane in this frontmost deployment because I would always play his 3 pip, which is I make the rules now, where you play the 3 tokens,
Yeah.
and then he can reveal himself. So
Yeah, you put the bomb, the smoke, or the fake, or whatever it is, and
and maybe some people are gonna find this list pretty good. Maybe I would like to think that people find this list pretty good, but I just kept
well, I
playing
think the
Cad.
results speak for themselves, but we'll get into that.
I think so too, and I just kept playing Cad Bane where he resulted. I would deploy his tokens. I would deploy Kablamo, Smoke and Mirrors, and Here I Am. And the opponent every time read where the Here I Am was, and they would, no matter the mission, no matter the deployment, they would set their units up to counteract the Here I Am token because they could almost guarantee where the Here I Am token was coming from.
Well, sure, based off where maybe the objectives were on the map, I'm assuming.
So my mistake in this game was I wasn't playing droids like droids. I was playing droids like Shadow Collective, and I built them completely in a Shadow Collective way. And what I've learned from that is droids don't play well. If there's something droid players are looking for, if there's something droid players are looking to achieve, I would say the key goal for droids, and this was a learning moment for me because I've never done this was a list that depended upon random activations. And as a droid player, I got to tell you, do not play a droid list on random activations. I think the point of droids is to
It's the
be
order
in
control, right?
it's
Like
being
the
to be in control,
yeah.
and I did the absolute opposite with this list. I made sure I was completely out of control, and it really hindered me. I did well kill points wise, but I just wasn't able to execute the things that I needed to do.
Yeah, they want all those coordinates when I play you guys, and it's like all of a sudden you pop out like one order token, the next thing I know, your whole
Right.
army has a face-up order token, and I'm like, well, that's cool. But we'll get more into some of that, I think, in when we talk about some of your matches. But yeah, I can see where people would look at this list and like, all right, the guy's got 3 pikes, he's got Maul, he's got Bane, and they're like, wait a
This
minute.
looks like a Shadow Collective
Yeah, and
list.
they're like, oh my god,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
with these? They're probably checking the rules, like, why are there B1s? They're like,
Right.
oh yeah, it
Right.
is an actual
Which I got that every match. They were like, "Oh, Shadow Collective." I'm like, "No, I have B1s. Hang on."
yeah. Well, and for my list, I went super generic. um, After getting for folks that don't know, we did Evergreen Open link somewhere around here. I went 0-3. It was my first tournament. I was like, all right, I need to bring something a little that I feel like had a little bit more oomph to it. So I cheated. I feel like I cheated. I went with General Veers, led Blizzard Force, 4 bikes, ATST with all the goodies on it. Well, minus the grenade launcher. I got the ATST mortar launcher, link targeting array, 4 naked bikes, 2 naked storms, as well as the HRUs, which were in all my matches just doing work with the RT97 and that DLT19. As folks can probably guess, just like what Stefan was doing, playing that range game, range 4 with the snows, or I'm sorry, with the Stormtrooper HRUs. And then on the ATST, he's got a range 4, but using that mortar that's range 4 to unlimited, throwing suppressive dice. So that it did me well. Like the only time I'd ever played Blizzard Force before is when it kind of first came out, and I was using Op Vader like standard list, and this is the first time I brought out this kind of General Veers vehicle list, and I was pretty happy. Selfishly, I will say I was pretty happy with the outcome. So yeah, so I brought Blizzard Force. We'll get into that. Tyler, you said you wanted to make a comment, anything?
So I had a comment to make on Jason Langer's play. So can we let's pull that Blizzard Force back up?
Okay, sure.
Pull that Blizzard Force back up for me. So this I have to commend Langer as a player, especially in competitive play, because we're talking about. I just want to talk for a second, like how you take reps with your lists, and like you want to like play this out, and you want to get those practice reps in, and then you come to this tournament, and then you just drop this mic drop surprise bomb of Blizzard Force.
At least amongst the three of us, right? Because you guys have
personally on the record, I wanted to know. I was like, where did this come from? Why did you decide last minute I'm dropping Blizzard Force? And then you came in and you killed.
I did.
Not only did you surprise drop it on me, Stefan, and everyone. Nobody knows you in the group, but me and Stefan were so surprised, and then you kill. Because in the tournament,
like I said, I wanted the cheat code. Like, so I went 0 for 3 in the first one. And look, let's talk about tournament play, right? Like I was going in to have a good time, right? Have fun.
Which Langer's a great strategist.
But I was like, but at the same time, it's like I want to win one game. Like my goal is to win one game. So I'm like, well, what my previous list, I feel like I just wasn't playing it right. I had a lot of reps with it. I just wasn't feeling it. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go in and do something different. I love the ATST, I love seeing it on the table. And I was like, but I don't want to play, because I noticed like all my lists don't have a force user either, right? I've been like anti-force user.
Never. Maybe Vader once in a while.
Yeah, like early on when it came out, but
once in a while, right?
Yeah, but I felt like that was a crutch, quite honestly. So anyway, not that this is not a crutch, but I don't know, man. I just was like, I'm just gonna bring this out. We're gonna try it.
I just wanted to commend you for the 0 play rep, because you play us in reps a lot, and like you come in no play reps. Hey, I'm playing Blizzard Force today, and how you played in that, how you performed was impressive. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
holy shit.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I can see why people like this list. Like, I mean, and it's not meta listing. I mean, the Blizzard Force is so locked down on what you can take. There's only like 3 combinations really. But this is a fun list to play. Like, you get the speeder bikes, you get all that movement with them. You get the compulse. You get, like I said, I get to bring in ATST, which I just love on the tabletop. And it's funny that like when you put an ATST on the tabletop, people are like, I mean, they just go, "Oh my god, it's got an ATST," and it's like, it's got 11 hit points, but it rolls white dice. And I mean, it's like
with bikes. 4 bikes is hard to deal with.
Yeah, but I mean, you can melt an ATST. Like you've done it to me before, Tyler. Like that one game we played, and I just blanked. I just kept blanking. But it's like there's like this imposing force of like this big mini, just being dropped on the table. So
I couldn't commend you enough, and I kept telling Stefan that night, I couldn't commend you enough. You came in with a list that you had 0 reps with, and you killed.
I did okay. I mean, thanks. I appreciate that.
You killed. I was more scared to face you than I was 501st, and I'm 1-9. I'm 1-9 against 501st.
Yeah,
and I'm more scared to face that Blizzard Force. I was like, no.
Well, there was, and we'll get into it, but there was definitely some other good. There were some good lists here. I know Francois, who I played, we'll talk about. He had a really good Imperial Remnant. I think
good.
I played.
I got some comments on that.
Yeah, I played a couple the other Gar folks. Some really good lists. So yeah, I mean, I know there's
which we can announce you had the strongest SOS schedule.
Yeah, which is great, or not great, which is crazy because you guys had
explained
to me what.
Yeah, we think that's not great.
When you guys had explained to me what all the metrics.
Great for tiebreakers.
Yeah,
dude, you faced the hardest opponents that were available.
Yeah,
you came out of that tournament with the highest SOS, so you faced the hardest opponents possible.
And then I
and
stopped playing because it was
still,
fourth game at 10 o'clock at night, and I was like,
and
I'm
then I
done.
stole your minis.
Yeah, and then you took my minis, but that's all. Well, you didn't take my minis. You took yours that I had to borrow to play Blizzard Force because I don't have enough bikes. So real quick, let's go into round one. Let's do the 5 minute or less recap. Lightning round here. So Stefan, it looks like you played Izzy round one.
Yep.
You took red player. So he was blue player. You guys played intercept the transmissions, hemmed in, and supply drop.
Oh,
So
look how close that game
yeah,
was.
you guys killed pretty close. I mean, 20 points, 21 points shy of kill points. He looks, obviously he had won 8-4, it looks like. But give us the quick 5 minute or less, like rundown.
Yeah,
And I got you on the
I
clock.
deployed really far back for the intercept the transmission. So essentially, I was trying to tie it 6-6 in the middle, and I was too far back, and so I couldn't contest that middle point. But I was able to kill Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker. So that was a huge chunk of
Yeah,
points.
let's pull up Izzy's list.
He had double rebel commando full teams of the snipers. Those guys were putting out damage.
Yeah, it looks like he had two. So he had the two rebel commandos that Stefan just mentioned. He had Ewok slingers.
Can we talk about those commandos for 1 second?
Yeah, go for it.
They're strong.
Those commandos, I have to say, commending to Izzy, because I overheard every table talk about those commandos, and nobody expected them because they get sharpshooter 1, they get the sniper, and they have the low profile. So that means if they get light cover, that's light cover plus, and if they get heavy cover, that's heavy cover plus.
And they throw a black each at range 3 surging to hit, so they hit hard.
100%. So like any rebel players out there, I would recommend following suit. If you take a full he did complain he didn't have order control, but one thing that every player had to admit was those commandos were disgusting because of the scout, the sharpshooter, the low pro.
Yeah, scout 2, sharpshooter 1, low pro. I got the card up, and then you get, looks like 4 plus an extra mini. And so 5 units in that squad.
And the extra mini, I believe, black and a white for the sniper.
Low profile's very very good. Very good. Low profile's very good for Legion play.
Because he took the snipers.
Yeah, so the sniper is one black, 1 white, range up to 5, high velocity, and pierce 1.
Which he was losing high velocity because he would put the sniper in the dice pool.
Oh, right. So it wasn't.
Blasters.
Yep.
So
but what was killing me was he was getting that range. He was taking the range 5 shots with the pierce and just taking me out with it. Like, I was failing my impervious rolls with the rebel commandos and was giving them a suppression so that they were always in heavy cover.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. Because of that low profile add-on there.
My snipers couldn't shoot one of his units because it was heavy cover down to light, back up to heavy. I'm throwing 2 dice, so I had to crit into him with my snipers.
Yeah. And you brought Wicket. Did Wicket do any damage? Like, did you get any melee with Wicket?
Yeah, I actually ended up killing Wicket. He charged into some phase 2s and they punched him to death.
They aimed their punches, right? Where you aim, you're like, I'm gonna really hit you.
Yeah.
So the only thing, what I'm gonna finish on this. I'm gonna finish on this with my opinions about this list. I think it was great to see a rebel list that doesn't have 2 dishes, Ahsoka, and a freaking Cassian
Andor and K2.
Right? The thing about his list so 1, that was my favorite, and then 2, my second favorite part was to see the weirdness of the dynamics that he took. And the one thing that I wish I played him because I don't understand it, because Wicket has forest dwellers.
Yeah.
So with forest dwellers in the first round,
he gets a scout.
You get a scout and a dodge.
Yep.
And I was very curious to see how he executed that. I didn't get to see it, But I'm like,
In our
why?
game, he used it to help get the slingers a good scout move into cover and onto my like flank side.
So back to the round. So basically, you feel like you deployed. You just couldn't get the objectives. Basically, is what you're telling. You couldn't move that
get to
mob
the
of.
middle objective, yeah, because he had. It would have been 1 to 2 is what it ended up being on that middle objective, but because I couldn't, because he did get Luke, Boba, and Wicket into melee with my units, so they stopped and couldn't move.
Yeah.
But if I deployed a little closer, I wouldn't have had to have moved as
Which-
far.
Old Man Boba, if I saw that right on your
His independent standby, that dude was just.
dude,
I would move, he would move into melee, and then he would.
Oh my
I
god,
would move,
he had
and he would
emergency stims.
swing, and then a swing again. I was getting double hit by Boba, and he was killing units.
Yeah, that's
So
why, 'cause
much
he's getting
more
the
dice
2
with that
attacks
stick,
around.
dude.
Yeah.
And with
Yeah,
emergency
2
stims,
attacks everyone.
if Boba dies, essentially, right? If Boba dies, he could pop emergency stims and stay alive into the next round,
Yeah,
which is disgusting.
Yeah, that's pretty
which
nasty.
it didn't matter because if he used it, I killed him by like. It was like finally like my last attack into him, and he blinked like everything. So Boba with 1 life remaining, taking like 4 wounds. You aren't living through that with even with the electro or
Yeah.
the stims.
All right, let's talk about that. So I failed as a timer. That was longer than 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Let's
So
go talk
Tyler
about your.
interrupted my round.
Say that again, Stephen.
That's because Tyler interrupted my match recap.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
sorry.
talking about his match, Tyler.
I'm
Not
sorry. I'm sorry.
But let's
Is
talk
he-
about. So we'll go to Tyler's match, and then
Okay.
Stefan, you can speak for Tyler. So let's see round 1 for Tyler. So Tyler, you played Mr. Francois, which was the double dark remnant.
So I would like to speak first and foremost. Everyone that can see the points lost. I lost 433. He lost 74.
Oh my gosh.
That is because I got every single one of his units down to the unit leader, and I just could not finish them off.
Oh.
He took double darks, and I took both of those dark troopers down to the unit leader. He took 2 death troopers, and I took those death troopers down to the unit leader, but I just could not wipe them off the table.
Yeah, so you tied on the victory points, but he got you by kill points, basically.
So this was the match. This is where it comes in, right? I'm playing droids as if they're Shadow Collective, which is the wrong way to play. I was actually very surprised how well I did. So what happened was I messed up my Cad Bane deployment, and I placed them beautifully, is what I thought. And then I placed this Cad Bane deployment behind this piece of cover because I'm like, okay, I'm going to be able to peek and shoot. What he did, because it was major offensive, was he deployed all 800 points of his lineup was like dedicated to throw Cad Bane off. So my response was, because what happened is all the objectives were over here on the map. He placed his way over, and I placed my 3 objectives way over. So basically there was one objective that was like over here, and then I placed my whole army right there. He places his whole army right here, and then puts dark troopers to capture those points. So what happened was,
I feel like we need a telestrator, like he's like an NFL guy over there.
Okay, so anyways, I know I wish I could have like a play, but like the NFL,
Yeah.
like I could draw on it. But basically, I placed Cad Bane poorly. He deployed to punish Cad Bane, and I deployed to respond to that punishment. And that was my mistake because I let his dark troopers just take all the objectives on the top half because I couldn't respond to them.
Yeah.
He kills Cad Bane. He kills Darth Maul. I mean, Darth Maul wipes out a handsome amount of dark troopers, but he still kills Darth Maul. The droids just did nothing. The pikes fell apart. I just couldn't get the recover the supplies that I needed to get. He totally broke me apart. He totally played to my Cad Bane placement, and I took the bait. I took the bait by trying to defend my Cad Bane. Really, the smart play would have been, okay, I screwed up. Let him take my Cad Bane.
They kind of sacrifice him a little bit.
Let me go take on those Dark Troopers and let me go take those objectives. Just take my Cad Bane. But I was so zealous that I was like, no, I have to protect Cad Bane. I have to keep him alive. And that was my mistake.
Stefan, would you like to comment on Tyler's match?
I just remember looking over there at one point and seeing his Darth Maul spend a dodge to deflect back and kill a Dark Trooper.
That was
that's pretty cool.
It was a highlight, yeah.
The biggest
It's
highlight.
the small victories.
Okay, now that he mentioned it, the biggest highlight of my match was the Dark Troopers fired into Maul. Maul spends the dodge and rolls all surges. So he deflected and killed Dark Troopers with all deflects. Just nothing but deflects. I sent wounds back.
I didn't see that one. I just saw him deal one wound to a guy who had one wound.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's well.
That was the only good part about that match.
All right. Well, and then I'll go. Yours truly. So the first match, I win 3-0. I went against Hiram, who brought a rebel list. Back to your guys, I think it was you, Tyler, to comment. No dishes, but it was Cassian with the long range sniper with K2. He had a bunch of, and he brought Leia, some commando strike teams, and he had a speeder.
R2 and the land speeder with his list.
Yeah, R2 and the land speeder. Going for that, secret mission extra point. This was like, oh, go ahead.
How did you stop that R2 land speeder? Did you have a problem stopping that?
No, I just lit it up with the ATST.
You decided to shoot the land speeder first, right? No.
Yeah.
R2.
So
okay.
Yeah, I feel like
I won't do the drawing on the screen.
Right.
What'd you say, Stephen?
I said I feel like the ATST and land speeders would melt, or the bikes would melt the land speeder.
Yeah. And he was able to recover some wounds, right? Because R2D2 has recover to capacity 2?
Repair to capacity 2. Yeah. And it's an action and not a free action, unlike every other repair in the game.
So I did a lot of extra damage to that because he used all 4 repairs on that land speeder as well. But it took a couple rounds, but I did get it down. I played on a table, oddly enough, where the ATST actually got heavy cover.
Nice.
Which, so
big
heavy
pieces.
Yeah, big terrain pieces, heavy cover with something with full armor. Again, I'm throwing whites, but still, right?
Heavy cover on ATST is big.
Yeah, cover before impact, right, guys?
That's
Dodge
big.
cover before impact.
That's big. If you get heavy cover on ATST, that's big.
Yeah, so I took the long and short of it was I took the HRUs down one side because we did long march as well.
Okay.
On breakthrough. So HRUs on one side, everything else of mine on the other side, and then Veers kind of in the middle. And HRUs held down the left side. I took the ATST and the bikes and basically just went down the right side. He did some stuff. He had he threw out the mines with his commandos. The rebel, like the mines that you can detonate.
The saboteur.
Yeah, so he did a really good job of like kind of trying to hem me in a little bit, but I could get far enough where with the speeder bikes I could just almost go around them. I did trigger one of them, but it also hurt his guys. So this was like a pretty, like it wasn't a masterful, eventful game. As you can tell, like I only killed 192 points, which was, he killed 192 and I killed 289. Most of that was his land speeders and wiping out some rebels. The main thing is I used Veers with the 2, I'm going to call them the barrage cards for Blizzard Force, his maximum firepower and his barrage. That did the work that I needed to do, and then he just kept sniping Veers with Cassian. So he ended up killing, I think he ended up killing like a unit of bikes, Veers, and like a unit of snow, my naked snows. Right. But Hiram was a good dude. He's a local guy. The first time I played him,
a lot of fun.
Opponent. But at the end, it was the bikes on breakthrough, like,
I have a lot more comments to make because he was my second game. But
Yeah, I knew you played him in the next round. So,
Yeah.
so this right here, after the first game, we started late, right? I think our first game started what 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Like, I was like, great, I met my goal of winning one game. I was like,
I know.
I could go home a happy man now. So we went to lunch and I was on cloud nine. And these guys had to hear
Yeah.
me talk about me winning and them not, unfortunately, which is, by the way, for those that are listening, not normal. Like these guys
Which
are far,
is
far better than I am.
so funny for him to say like, "Oh, I hit my goal. I'm 1-0." And I was like, "Dude, shut up right
Yeah,
now. All
yeah,
right?
you guys like,
You have a strong ass list. Like you're going to do fucking great tonight."
yeah, yeah, it was a good time. It was a good
Cuz
time.
I didn't even want to face it.
But let's get into round two, right? So we get into round two. I start with you first, Stefan. So we'll go to Tyler this time. So actually going off of this, since Tyler, you commented you did play Hiram next. It looks
Perfect.
like you were
Perfect.
blue player, so you
Mhm.
got the bid as you took your turn.
So, it started off I play Hiram. We instantly go to a table I played before, and we agreed let's go to a table that
Oh, that's right. I
still.
forgot. You're like, I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
played
yeah.
on this table. Yeah.
So we make a late turn audible. Let's like go to a new table, and that was really cool of Hiram. So first and foremost about his list, uh, the R2 repair on the land speeder is effed. Like I didn't expect that at all. So like I go into this laying into this land speeder. It gets great cover. It gets all that. He repairs it. He's like restoring that land speeder. And so I start to focus on his troops, not realizing his troops were low pro.
Yep.
And then not only that, they're nimble.
Yep.
And every time he activates Leia, she is handing out
Yeah.
3
She's just
dodges.
token generator,
So
right?
she
Like,
she has take cover 2, and then
yep.
he took portable scanner, so it's
So
take
three.
cover 3. So he was laying out take cover 3. So against my triple pike, against my saber throw, maul, against my Cad Bane jumping out, even though he gets sharpshooter 1, that 4 black dice against that low
Yep.
profile was harmful. And he had outmaneuver with all of those dodges.
Oh my
So
God.
if he had a dodge, it had an outmaneuver, and I just
Yeah.
didn't have the shot density to slow it down. Um, so what ended up happening in that game was I thought I had it in the bag. I knock out Cassian round 1. Within 3 activations, Cassian's dead. Um, I kill him with pikes, basically outright. What won him the game was the land speeder flies in with R2. I was not. I knew if I shot R2, he would gain a suppression,
Yep.
and then I couldn't further shoot him. So what I was trying to do was shoot the land speeder until he flew it in to get his secret mission. Then the second he wants to get his secret mission, I'm gonna melee him with Maul. Because when Maul comes in for the melee, I can take his heavy cover away. I can come
Yeah.
in with that pierce, which I did. I came in with Maul, came in with that melee, eliminate R2, but because of that take cover 3 from Leia, because of the low profile, I did not have the shot density to take him off of intercept the transmissions. He ended up winning the game entirely because he was able to uh, the way intercept transmissions was set up is he was able to sit on the objective,
Oh, with the
and
land
I
speeder?
with his
Oh,
units. So
oh,
like he
okay.
was able to sit in cover on the transmission, and because he had heavy cover plus nimble, plus outmaneuver, plus the dodges from Leia, no matter what I laid into him, somebody was alive, and it ended up being a very close game. I was killing him on kill points, but he came in with that objective play like I've never seen before, which really turned me against Maul and Cad Bane. It's like, what am I doing with these guys? If somebody like this is able to move in and play like that, I can't even get a bounty. I can't even get Maul in because every time I get Maul in, because the way he built his land speeder, and what I recommend, with rebels,
Take
or
a look at it.
what I commend with rebels are able to take incredible shot density. And he just took incredible shot density against me that I could not respond to. And even though I had healing droids to bring those pikes back, I couldn't bring the pikes back fast enough to take the transmissions away from him because of that low profile, because of that dodge with situational awareness. I did end up killing R2, which felt justified for me. I
You're
did
like
feel
moral
I
victories.
I finally felt good about it, but he did come out on top in that, and I was defeated. I did feel defeated at that because and if there's one thing I could say about Hiram's list, his list would have destroyed me so much faster if he took snipers instead of saboteurs. Because his
Oh, and the special forces, yeah.
I think the salt on the wound for this match was that his saboteurs were placing bombs and doing nothing with them and staying alive.
Yeah, yeah.
If he had snipers, he would have been moving around, plucking me off,
Yeah, just
making me
like think,
feel
think, think,
even
think.
dumber, right? But the fact that he got to move those saboteurs around and like do nothing with them and still crush me, I was like, okay,
Yeah, you're
I got
basically saying he had like sunken points that weren't really
I
impacting the
yeah,
match. Yeah,
and that's hard to deal with as an opponent. Like when you're an opponent and you see your opponent using these units in a way that's not useful. Like I mean, he was like his goal, I think, was to corner me with bombs so I
sure.
didn't advance. But the bombs never went off. I never attacked his saboteurs. His saboteurs never shot me back. They just kind of placed this force field of mines and never did anything but that. And he still came out on top
Yeah.
and crushed me, which I gotta say my ego is crushed. The fact
I'm
that he didn't need those two activations and
Yeah, you're
still
like, wow, you're basically playing. What did he have?
I got he
You're
scared
like,
me.
oh, you're playing with 9 acts, not 11 in your book.
He
So
did scare the shit out of me, and I played Maul back a lot. I was scared to put Maul forward because that land speeder had so many shots. That land
yeah,
speeder
yeah. I
is
mean, I'm not
scary.
familiar with it, but it looks like I'm
He
assuming
fully
this is
loaded it.
yeah,
He
this is like
fully
every
loaded it.
gun. So we got the outer rim speeder jockey,
I mean, we're
A
talking probably 6
A300 rifle
shots.
gunner, RPS rocket launcher, and the medium blaster. I'm assuming that's like every gun that you can
It's
add to that thing.
if he rolls good, it's about 6 shots on average, which hurt Maul, and he did hit Maul with that a couple times.
Wow. All right, Stefan, let's go to you. Let's see, round
All right.
2. Let me pull this up. I feel like even though it was like a week ago, it feels like a really long time ago, like longer than that. Who did you play? Where are you? You played. Oh, I didn't play Andrew. So looks like you
He
played
had,
Andrew House, and you were a red player.
yep, I chose to be red player again, I believe. We played key positions. He was a double dark user,
Oh, okay.
but he only had just the 3-man base unit with the Gatling gun and no other.
Okay.
One of them had the loyalty programming, but the other one didn't.
Let's see what we got here. He has. This I'm messing with the wrong thing. So you had Moth, Storm with an HH-12, Snows, Concussion Storms, 3 speeder bikes, and 2. Yeah, and the 2 darks. Okay.
Yep, and he deployed his speeder bikes in the very back of his deployment. I believe we played Major Offensive
It said Long March. I'm
or
I'm
Long March.
cheating because I can see it.
Okay,
It was Long March.
yeah, Long March. So yeah, he deployed his bikes all the way in the back of Long March.
Yep.
And I did the same thing with my Bark speeder, and then deployed everyone else near like the front of Long March around a good I had like a little like wall temple kind of thing, so I kind of hid all my guys behind that, but made sure my arcs could see and have sniping lanes.
Classic
Um,
501st. Do the death
yep,
ball with the clones. If you don't
Yep.
death
the death
ball with
ball with the
501st, you're doing
clones.
it wrong.
And what was nice is on that wall, I was able to jump Anakin up there and just have him sit there and do nothing for like rounds 1 to 4.
Oh wow.
because he couldn't see him. He couldn't see him, and I positioned, and he played everything so far back that like his darks couldn't even shoot me till round 4. I was like, I'll just keep taking long range shots
Oh
and
man. Okay.
thin out them. And then he moved his HH12 storms forward, and I shot them, and I picked off like because I rolled just 2 natty crits, and I was like, well, that's 2 Pierce 1, and he's like, okay. And I took out 2 storms with that, and he was like, yeah, they need to get out of dodge. So he ran them backwards and then tried coming forward with him again, and I took him down to a unit leader. Then he ran him back to take the back objective,
Sure.
and then my bark flew into a height 2 rock pillar and shot, and then just kept compulsing into a height 2 tower it couldn't pass, staying still, and just aim shooting things as they walked forward.
Brilliant.
So my compulsory move just kept me in place, so I was basically just staying still, aim shooting.
Wow.
Keeping my bark was in heavy cover because it was half blocked. So I was like, yeah, it's cheeky, but I'm gonna do it to keep my bark alive.
Yeah, I mean that's where it's
I've
one of those
seen
things
it.
where you're using the rules, unfortunately, and in your favor, but
I've
you
seen
know
it
that
in
it's
tournament play where people cut their compulse short because they can.
yeah. I mean I get it.
They're hitting something that's too tall to fly over.
Yeah.
Like it was, yeah. I was like, it's rough, but yeah. But then
It's
turns 1
almost
through 4, I took one of his dark trooper units from 4 models to 2 models. And then the other one got up in there, and then Anakin took that one from 4 models to 2 models, and then the next round he took it from 2 models to dead. And then they called hard or 15 minutes, like the 10 minutes till hard dice down, and we were in round 5, and I was just like, oh, no more shooting. Just let's see how many pieces I can get to that middle objective, because that middle objective was like a 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch square, tiny piece of terrain in the middle of the field. So it was whoever can like get there and block it off wins.
right.
Yeah.
And so I had Anakin on there in base contact with the 2-man dark trooper unit. And then Moff Gideon moved in there, so I moved ARC troopers, double moved and based him, and then would cohere my guys to block off his movement in. And since my unit leader's in melee combat, you're not pulling people out of the way, really.
Right.
And so we ran out of time, and I won that middle objective, and then the
Which
back objective.
I do got to encourage players because even in tournament play, I'm new to this. I've only played 4 tournaments, but the biggest thing I encourage is when you move into that melee. I've only seen it a few times. Somebody will place their minis in a way that like makes it so you can't assault that unit on your next activation.
Yeah.
It's something to look out for. I mean, it really plays a
Yeah.
role if you're looking to be successful in this competitive play. Is how do you place your minis?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before just amongst the 3 of us is like when you compare to when we're just playing our Thursday night games or whatever with either us or the other cats at the game store. Like in the competitive one, like the cohesion matters or where you're positioning stuff or like how you're
Oh yeah,
going to melee or where do you put the bomb, like on your mini. So if you do,
around the mini. Where's
yeah,
it in
because if you
base
do die, where does
contact?
it get dropped or whatever? Like
Exactly.
it's like really the devil is in those details and it can swing a game for sure. It's just
100%.
Oh yeah.
when you don't think about it, like I'm notoriously bad about that when like that's what I learned at the first tournament. It was like, oh wow, like how I kind of play when we're just all having a good time is way different than like, okay, make sure I cohere everybody around or make sure I get them, because you're just like so precise and everything. And it is it is different. And that's why it is competitive, right? You're bending the rules to exactly what you need them to be, right? And all those things do come into play. So for sure, Tyler,
Yeah.
yeah, that's that's something that
And,
I've been learning in these first 2 tournaments.
and
So
even when you're playing casual play, like the biggest concern is like, oh, how hardcore is my opponent? And I've let my opponents know ahead of time, like, hey, I'm taking a tournament list. I might
yeah,
play a little bit more aggressively than what you're used to. because that's one thing I like. I'm trying to hone myself and tune myself to like be aware of that.
Yeah. Well, like I know when I'm playing you guys, it's going to be a sweaty game. But like if I play
Every
some other
time.
guy, if I play
Every
some other guys at the store, we're usually like, it's not as sweaty. But I know you two, like you guys you're here to win. Like whether it's on, and I think it's great. But I know like I'm gonna get a match, and I'm not gonna, it's not. We're obviously friends and all, but we're playing to win. Where sometimes I play
Oh,
with like
yeah.
Conrad or something. We're like, whatever. Like, oh yeah, that guy looks like he can cover, or maybe he's not in cover or whatever. So
I mean, 100%. I mean, there was that game where I thought I was like, I'm gonna table Jason right here. I'm gonna table him, and you were like, nope. I got recover the supplies. I'm behind this fucking building.
yeah,
I'm out of the way, and I was like, dude, I eliminated 500 points.
you eliminated everybody. I killed
60.
them all. I killed them all. One
Yeah,
game
yeah,
killing
yeah.
one unit.
That's what I'm saying.
So it can't happen. All right. And then I'll go quickly about myself because it's my podcast. I'm kidding.
This is your show,
This is my show. Not really. It's our show.
and we're co-starring.
Second game. I'm actually red player, and I still get breakthrough with 4 bikes on Blizzard Force. And if Joe's listening to this, Joe, it was a good match. I had a good time. I don't think he had a great time.
Still can't believe he picked breakthrough against 4 bikes.
Yeah, we had breakthrough, major offensive, fortified positions. I don't think. And I hope
What was
again.
what was the alternative? Like if he banned.
I don't remember the
fortified,
flop, unfortunately, but I mean it was his deck.
to pick breakthrough against 4 bikes is wild. I just have to say that is.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe it's a learning
did
moment
he
for him.
ban into it though? Because I feel like you as red player have the last ban.
I think I don't remember I wish I remembered.
Yeah, if you're a red player, you would get.
I wish you could remember how that the flop and veto stage went, because that's what really, because you could have forced it being red player.
You forcing bombing run with that list would be clutch.
Yeah, he had breakthrough, key positions, recovered supplies, and VAPs is what was in his deck. And somehow, and I wish I do remember. I don't remember if I passed or if something of those he didn't want to do. I don't remember the exact thing, but I just remember going. And again, Joe, if you're listening to this, Joe, but I'm like, breakthrough 2 games in a row. I'm like, sweet.
All due respect to Joe. All due respect. I just have to say, all due respect. I think looking at that battle card list, I think the last thing he should have let go through was breakthrough.
Oh yeah. I mean,
letting you get breakthrough, like I bet you were like, ooh.
I feel like probably one of the best things against you would probably be recover the supplies would be pretty good against you.
Yeah, because I don't have a lot of core. I mean, I only have a couple of trooper units.
Yeah. Recover the supplies would have been stronger. Depends.
I have 4 trooper units, or 5 if you count Veers. But
yeah.
But this was a game that, again, if Joe's listening, apologize. Like, I don't think Joe ever moved out of his deployment zone. Like, I got him hemmed in. He had clones. He had Commander Cody, Padme.
That's
2 ATRTs.
So he didn't have a chance to move those bombs out. You put those bombs on the bikes, didn't you? You put all.
No, but this was breakthrough. It wasn't bombing run. We ended up on breakthrough.
Oh, okay.
But
and that could be a strategy move, because I know as clones sometimes like breakthrough. What was the deployment again?
Major offensive.
Major offensive. So, major offensive can be hard to get across, especially if your opponent can put out good damage with no cover. So, and you want to keep your clones in the ball. So sometimes, like, what will be some people's strategy is they'll play breakthrough and try to defend their zone and make it be a 0-0 game that they won on kill points.
Oh,
if
I could see that.
Something to comment. I think the 4 bikes is dangerous. I don't think there's a single deployment where you can bank on, I'm going to live off these bikes, because those bikes move so fucking fast. And not only that, you can hold off your deployment. You can be like, I'm going to deploy everything else because they don't matter. And then wherever he deploys, I'm putting these fucking bikes, because they, excuse me, I don't know if I can say that.
You probably shouldn't, but that's okay. I'll probably have to edit it.
I can, wherever you go, he can deploy those bikes, and because the speed. I face this in a game I'll talk about, but those bikes are just dangerous.
Yeah.
Four?
Yeah, and we and you know, we all know that there's some strategy in this game, lists matter, but we also know at the end of the day, sometimes you're at the mercy of the dice. And I will tell you, I got those 2 ATRTs, I think both of them off the table by round 2, if not one of them off and the other one by beginning of round 3. And I was rolling good. Joe's defense dices were not rolling very good. So I mean, there was an element of that, but I just kept moving forward, like slowly but surely with the ATST and the HRUs, and he never got out. Maybe he moved like a speed, range 1 or 2 out of his deployment zone, but he never really got out of the deployment zone. And I scored with the bikes. At the end, I just kind of I went down the other side of the map and just kind of rested them in there. Used the terrain for some cover and whatnot, but. Veers, again, did his job. I put electro binoculars on him, so I'm giving out 3 aims. I'm giving a unit or an order always to the ATST, right?
He's got spotter 2.
He has spotter 2. I put electro binoculars on him, so he's getting spotter 3.
And with electros, he gets spotter 3.
Yeah, and then every time I give a face-up order token to the ATST with LTA, it's getting a name token. So I'm just stacking.
And you took LTA with
yeah, so I'm just stacking that thing with aims. And the beautiful thing with Veers, for those that aren't familiar, like his 2 barrage cards, like his 1 pips, like the one that he gets and then the one that comes with Blizzard Force, those are after he activates. Right? So I do spotter 3 with him, and then I give him an aim, and then I get to use the card. Right? Which is, depending on which one, it's either 4 black or 4 red, range 4 to unlimited.
That's insane.
Tyler's just like, I can't tell Tyler's camera's frozen or.
You're just like, I hit everything, take away. Wait, do both of those have blast or just one of those?
Just one of them has blast.
I'm gonna talk shit for 1 second.
Yeah, go for it.
I love Legion. I do not agree, and I'm gonna speak this out to the YouTube world. I do not agree that these bikes cost 70 points and they get double rainbow cover 1.
Double rainbow cover 1, impact 2.
He gets target 3. 70 points, target 3.
Well, target 2, and then I give the card. But yeah, so he Veers is like 70. I think he's 70 points now naked, and then Electro is what, 8 points?
8 points to 78.
Dude, you're compulsing 3, and then after your compulse 3, you get to decide. Oh, I'm gonna move another 3, and then I'm gonna shoot you with double rainbow, bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get cover 1 no matter where I'm at.
Yeah. No, it's
so strong.
It is strong, but I mean, but I could also counter that if I'm playing Steph in another guard, and Joe did this. Unfortunately, the dice he's throwing out those like 12 dice fire supports or whatever, so
yeah.
I get to your point, but I think they're super squishy. Yeah, they get cover 1, but they roll whites. They do surge to block. I mean, they could probably be a little bit more expensive. I'm not going to argue, but it's the fact that you can also take 4 of them in Blizzard Force, right? So
they're balanced because it's the white surge save, right? The white surge save, you never save. So if I'm getting a bunch of shots on you, I'm probably wiping both the bikes out.
Yeah.
What I commend about the bike play is that the fact that you can deploy back and you can make your opponent get that false confidence, like, oh yeah, he's range 5 out, and then you get that compulse 3.
Oh yeah, and you just move
3, that shoot 2. Because I've played so many games where I get limited visibility, and I'm like, I'm kosher, I'm good, and even I'll get a crazy deployment like Long March. I'll get Long March with limited viz, but those bikes compulse, they move, range 2, bam, right there.
Yeah,
now you got 4 of them, double rainbow.
Yeah, they're nasty, and again with break. Yeah, surge to hit. I mean, yeah, and then there's a couple cards in the Blizzard Veers gives where I can dodge crits when they have dodges, and so there's some play there to keep them less squishy. But yeah, I mean, but Joe never. I mean, he put up a good, but I mean, I was just he never got a chance to move out. So I put the ATST on a corner with the HRUs, and we were just
What kind of
plunking
impact?
away.
What kind of impact was he dealing with?
So the when I finally got into range 3 for a couple shots at the ATRTs, you're throwing impact 4 just on the ATST. Then the HRUs have impact 1 with the DLT, and then if I'm talking a full squad of bikes, that's impact 2. So there's 8, 12,
I forget the bikes have
14. So you're
impact 1, right?
yeah, per bike.
Per bike.
Yeah. So I mean, if everything's healthy and they're shooting at something, you've got impact 14.
God damn those Empire.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's good to be the bad guy. But
and then I'm over here like playing Blizzard Force Impact 0.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be impact. I mean, if there was a list that gave you a lot of crit too, I mean, anything that gives you those those crits.
My Blizzard Force has critical 1.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so Joe and I, we went at it. I think we only made it to round 5. I think we ended round 5. I think with higher I only made it to round 5. So none of these did we make it to the full 6 rounds. All right, let's talk round 3, guys. We're gonna have to speed this up a little bit just because I don't want to take forever.
Are we going over?
We'll be close. We'll be close. But I'm gonna go first this time just because I actually had my list up. So this tournament starts at 12:30. This is 3rd round. I don't even remember what time it started. Like, was it like 7 o'clock? I mean, I felt like it was 6:30 or something. I was getting tired. Francois, if you're listening to it, that was a great match. We had a lot of back and forth. I learned a couple things from the rules. He did win 4-2. You notice the 0 and the 700 points. I did just concede because I ran out of units, core units or trooper units to recover on those VAPs. So Francois did a great job. Smart player. He just like, hey, I don't even think he ever shot at the ATST. He just realized like, hey, if I can get these core trooper units off the board, Jason can't, I can't do the objective. And that's basically what it came down to. I messed up on the deployment. I did not realize rapid reinforcements that he could deploy in my deployment zone. He dropped his, he was running a double dark remnant list, and he dropped those double darks behind enemy lines, and like I lost Veers in I think round 1 or round 2.
And that's the rapid reinforcement learning curve against double darks. You'll never allow
I'll
that
never
again.
do that again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, I
learned that quickly.
It was close. Like he, because you have to do what? You can't be within range 2, right?
You just have to be within or
you can't be
outside of range 2.
At range 2. So he like
at range 2.
Some of the spots were, they were literally like on the edge of the table. Like if I would have like deployed some of my guys like an inch or a half an inch one way or the other, like he couldn't have been able to, because like we literally like, okay, these guys can fit like right here. Like we were doing super measurements, but he got him in there. They did their job. Hat tip to Francois on that. I definitely learned a lesson there. But they did their the damage they needed was done. But I had gotten him off the table by round 3. But again, he did enough work that I wasn't gonna have enough units to do the VAPs.
Right.
So I did.
I caught the back end of that.
Yeah, and another thing I should have done, and this comes back to learning the tournament play and the points and standings. I probably shouldn't have forfeited. I was just tired. I'm like, yeah, I can go home after this and go take a shower because it was like super hot, in this room that we were in.
100%.
And now I should have been like, no, we'll just play it out, and then I would, because I did kill those guys. I would have got the kill points. I would have got some other things, but
100%, you would have increased your score.
You would
have probably placed a lot better, even though you placed phenomenally well.
I did. I came in 4th, which was nice.
But yes, forfeiting is worse than getting tabled.
Yeah. So if anybody learns anything, is even if you're tired and you just want to go home.
Yes. Do not forfeit.
Don't
Run away.
forfeit.
If anything, just move your mouth. Just run away and hide.
Yeah. Don't forfeit. So that was kind of my learning curve there. Let me pull this up really quick. Who's next on my list? All right, Stefan, let's talk about your round 3 match against Kyle, who's a local player at the store.
Yep, I think I won the bid on this one and chose red player again.
Yeah. Key position, offensive hostile environment. This seems to be a theme.
Yeah, that's my battle cards. Yep, or his battle cards. I forced KP quite a bit because for me it's my favorite objective with my 501st.
Sure.
But in this one, I scouted Echo out to my back KP because it was way in the back, and then Iden Versio shoots him, kills his back dude, puts a wound on Echo. Round 2 shoots and kills Echo, and I was like, well, shoot, dang, there goes that having Echo back there.
Which is impressive because Iden doesn't have a sharpshooter, correct?
No, she has marksman. He had aims and just marksmaned me with crits, and so no, it was 2 pierce 1. And then with my impervious, I failed impervious, I believe.
Which you never do against.
And
I need some of that energy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't roll an impervious save for at all in that game. And so like everything was just dying to pierce. And what I could spend dodges and force barrier on, I did, but then there was a lot of high velocity.
Yeah, so
sharpshooter 2 boba, which is stupid.
Yeah, so I'll just read off what Kyle's list was. So you had Ruthie for the Imperial Officer with Electro Binox, so she's handing out aims. You got Iden with, like you said, the rifle.
And then you got infinite range.
Yep, and you got Boba and IG-88. Looks like Boba was pretty kitted out. And then 2 Naked Storms, a Snow with a med droid. Of course, if you got Iden, I mean, you're taking Inferno Squad, so we had a fully stacked Inferno Squad.
Which Kyle, Snow with the med droid. Interesting choice.
Yeah. Offensive push on the ISF. And then you, like you said, Stephanie, you were talking about the Pierce, two scout strike teams, which very familiar with something of this list. I don't run it with a double bounty, but I've played something very similar to this. So yeah, you get all that Pierce. You're playing that range 4+ game for a while.
Yep, I was able to keep both Anakin and my clone commander alive because my clone commander went and replaced Echo on the back objective. So, which in hindsight was like a bad decision, but I didn't want to put my phase 2s back there because I still had the medics on them.
Okay.
And so I gave up 2 extra surges every round and 1 extra exemplar surge off of Anakin for that offensive utility. So, he just ran over there and did nothing for rounds like 3, 4, 5, 6.
Which I encourage in the comments below. Stefan's going to put his list down there. I have been encouraging him to take Saber Throw and Anakin, but he is vehemently for the barrier. Let me know what you think.
I think you live in a force barrier world. You just need to accept it. Force barrier is the world we live in right now.
Just saying. I want to know what the people think.
Force barrier.
Barrier or Saber Throw. Barrier or Saber Throw. That's all I want to know. I want to know what
barrier.
Barrier. I hear from the meta lists, I hear it's Saber Throw.
Saber Throw can be very good, but it puts you in a more risky position. You're leaving yourself up to range 2. Range 2 is deadly from Magna Guard, Black Suns, other ARC troopers.
Maybe you've just phrased it. It's a high
Boba
risk, high reward.
High risk.
It's high risk, high reward. Exactly, and I agree with that. And I think Force Barrier is low risk, high reward, or medium reward because you're stopping the attrition, especially on ARC troopers in the 501st list, which is a 5 wound unit compared to most other 6 wound units.
Yeah.
and each dice matters.
Yeah. So how did things end up for you there?
I claimed my back objective. I think I lost the middle objective, but I was able to kill Boba Fett with Anakin.
So moral victory on
Then,
getting Boba off the table.
yeah.
Yeah.
Saber.
Yeah. you guys can hash that out in the after hours call or the after show. And then finally, round 3, last game, Tyler, looks like you played Bob A. Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. And looks like you actually came out a winner on this one.
Barely by 14 points.
Yeah, 318 to 329, it looks like.
So what is that? That's 8 points?
My
11.
I was gonna say my high school math says that's 11, but
I didn't pass high school. So 11 points.
how? Yeah, and 0-0 on VAPs. Like, what's going on here?
So again, I learned a valuable lesson. All droid players judge me alike. My list was stupid. I faced this guy. I deployed what I thought was the champion deployment. I was like, I'm gonna take him. Easy game, easy win. But all props to Boba Fett. He put his bikes right on Maul. The bikes moved in round 1, kill Maul. So now I'm just down to my Cad Bane and my pike list. And lo and behold, as much of a Shadow Collective list on droids that I took, those pikes were unkillable. So they were able to basically secure the VAPs that they needed to secure. I was able to kill units I needed to kill and run away. I spent rounds 2 to 6 running with my pikes, and I spent the whole time with Kalani giving those pikes extra dodges and aims just to ensure that they're gonna make it away from his unit. Because what we did is we took both of our moisture VAPs, because we both get 2 each. He stuck his 2 on the far end of the map. I stuck my 2 on the far end of the map. We both did the full claims on him, and then it was just a gunfight. And my pikes were able to run away. I was able to get that 11-point lead and walk away.
That's funny.
1 and 2, baby.
Yeah, one. Hey, well,
1 and 2,
baby.
And I forgot pikes. Are they independent? No.
Independent dodge.
So my list was a full independent list. That's why I took Cad, Maul, 3 pikes, because I knew my Kalani would coordinate orders to the droids, because it was Kalani and 3 droids. So Kalani and the 3 droids always got orders. And so everything in my pool was Cad, Maul, pikes.
Yeah.
So I always knew what was coming, kind of. I always had that edge. But
it's just that little chance of when you need to pull Cat or Maul and you just might pull a core. You need to pull the core, but you might pull Cat or Maul. That's the downside of that list right there.
I'm a shitty CAD player, or I'm a shitty list builder. I don't know which one comes first. But it didn't pan out well because Bane always died, or Maul never did anything. That was my downfall in every game.
Oh,
Either
and
Bane died or Maul did nothing.
That's a lot of points, right? If you're telling me Maul didn't do anything, that's what 180 points, give or take.
It's a lot of points to do like nothing with.
Maul was built with push, throw, and seize the initiative, because I wanted to seize the initiative when he had a lower wound. It just never came into effect. It never got to do what it needed to do, which is now.
And you didn't have the one that gives you a wound in your.
I did. No, I took the important Maul cards, which
command cards.
I could go over that. I go over the command cards at a different time, but I've learned a lot, and now I'm going towards a droid gun line, which does so much better, which I recommend. But anywho, my mistake was I think I took too many uniques. I took Kalani, I took Maul, I took Bane. That leaves too many options for your commanders. So I think the biggest thing you need to decide when you're building a list is, what can this list do? And you don't want to over convolute that list with multiple commanders and multiple command cards, because then you're struggling trying to decide, okay, what command cards are going to be good to this list.
Yeah, I mean, you've fallen to an archetype. Like you mentioned,
Right.
gunline. Maybe it's a hero list, or maybe it's all long range gunline.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you start mixing and matching things, which is probably a conversation for another day, you're not going to be good at anything, right? Or you're going to have some serious holes in your list. So,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
All right. Well, so with that though, we get to round 4. So we're late on Sunday, for the folks listening. So we had a couple folks drop. So that moves me into the top 4 because some folks dropped out. So I get ready to go play.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, surprisingly, right? Like shocking to me. And I was like, because I was literally like telling Francois during round 3, I'm like, dude, I'm ready to go home. I'm serious. I was like, I'm ready to go take a shower. I want to drink some water. And they're like, hey, can you play another game? I'm like, sure. I'm like, well, what can I win? Right? Like, oh, you can, like cards and all that stuff, which is great. You two cats take off, which is, you're done. You guys had like a 45-minute hour drive. But the thing that I didn't realize is I don't have 4 sets of bikes for Blizzard Force. So Tyler was nice enough to let me borrow a set of bikes. And of course, before he left, because we all thought we were done, I was like, hey, Tyler, here's your bikes. Why don't you go ahead and take off? So
Take him
I
home,
start
buddy.
setting up for the game, and then I realize we can't play this game.
How
So I have to
far
default.
how far into that game did you get? Did you
We
get
didn't. We started like setting up. Like we did the command cards, like who's red, who's blue, and I don't remember what we ended up with because we just like when I started putting.
Did you talk the whole terrain of the table over?
Yeah, we did like everything you were gonna do, and then
Oh, yeah,
and then like right when I was like pulling into into the box of minis, I'm like,
oh my
and then we looked around. We
God.
asked folks like, does anybody have any? Now at this point, like most folks had already taken off, right? We're down to like the hardcore people.
Yeah.
Monday night.
Oh,
Right, hey, has anybody got any bikes? And then we're like, hey, does anybody have like anything that had a similar base, right? Like, do you have any droidicas
Like
or
swoop
whatever?
bikes.
Yeah, and
even
then
a similar base. You guys were looking for the similar base.
yeah,
even.
so nobody had anything, and I was like, I was like, okay, it's so Joe, you get to remain. The joke was, I like, well, you get to say that you're undefeated against me now, Joe, or whatever, So he was a good cat. And what's funny is he was in Portland. So he probably didn't get out of there till like midnight, and he had to drive back to Portland and go to school the next morning. Or go to class the next morning. So I was like, you know what?
God
Those days are way
damn,
behind
man.
me for that type of stuff.
Yeah,
So
goodbye.
yeah,
No,
but
thank you.
so that's how we ended that night. But like we said, great event, had a good time. It was a fun list. I was actually surprised that I mean, I'd have to do the odds, but none of us played each other, meaning the 3 of us. I know you guys played each
I
other
like it.
at Evergreen Open. I was wondering, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to play Stefan or if I have to play Tyler. That'd be interesting. But we never crossed paths. So maybe
Miraculously.
Well, it worked out for you not crossing paths with us both dropping the first round.
Well,
Because
that wasn't
it's
a dig or
usually winners
anything, guys.
against
Like,
winners and losers against losers after that first one.
And one thing for tournament play, I was lined up to play the same table all 3 times. So if anybody out there in tournament play is lined up to play the same table twice, consult your consular. He will fix it.
yeah, I thought that was really, I was like, especially with 10 tables, I was like, I remember when you guys got moved around. I was like, how did they end up with the same table multiple times in a row? But
Yeah, because for my third game, they wanted me to play on the same table I played my second match on. And I was like, I just played here.
If I didn't say a word, I would have played the same table all 3 games.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, and this is to Travis. Like,
You could have abused the crap out of the table.
And maybe, and I don't, since I've never run one of these, I don't know if like maybe Game Uplink spits those out. Like, I don't know how that happens.
It
but
is
yeah,
random. It is
okay,
random.
it is. Yeah. So if it does happen, though, good call. Like, don't, nobody wants to play the same table every time. Like, I mean, usually at these tournaments, at least so far for me, out of the 2 I've been to, the terrain, the tables, it's
will
fun.
switch you. He will.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's fun to play on the different tables to get
100%.
that.
Oh yeah,
100%.
So, but guys, I need to ask a favor before we wrap up. You guys, just because I want witnesses to this is why I've got you all here now. So as you guys know, I've doing this YouTube thing, small channel, started out a couple months ago, but I decided to do a giveaway of some coins, and I'm gonna randomly live pull the winner, and you guys get to be my witnesses. So if I can do this right, so Basically, folks on this video, they just had to post a comment. You have to be a subscriber. You have to you just needed to say something. So I had a way of picking a winner. So
Nice.
we're just gonna go to this video. I've never done this before, so we're gonna click pick winner. We're gonna choose all comments. So we're doing this live. We're learning together. I'm gonna do pick a winner, and all right, there we go. Jared Wilson is the winner. Oh, I moved the window off. Let me move this back down.
Oh, congratulations, sir or person.
Yeah, and look at these. That's a nice comment, and this just proves that it was you guys saw that I clicked on. I've enjoyed all your videos that I've watched so far. They're always insightful. I really enjoy the droid, and I enjoy the droid units, Tyler. So a droid player.
Yeah.
Granted, they weren't droid order tokens; they're rebel tokens. But Jared, I will contact you and I will get these sent out to you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving the comment. Hopefully you continue to watch, and hopefully the rest of the videos that I make now and in the future, or the podcast stuff that I'm doing with these cats, is helpful. But with that, guys, anything you want to say? Each 30 seconds to wrap up. No long rants, Tyler.
All I have to say is I would encourage that you guys watch future content from Langer's Legion. We have a lot to talk about as far as droids. Like I said, I don't want to be judged off of this tournament list. I thought it was going to be great, just based on the fact that I'm a connoisseur of when people say this doesn't work. I like to try that. That's why I took so many pikes. So just be mindful in the future of Langer's Legion content. I play a lot of droids. Just be on the lookout for some lists that I'm building, and I'm curious to what you guys are building out there.
Yeah. Leak some comments below. That's always helpful. How about you, Mr. Stefan?
No, just it was a great, fun tournament. Tables were great, and as always, the community full of nothing but great people.
Yeah, always a good time, right?
Ooh.
Just get a bunch
100%.
of
Always a good time. And I liked this. The nice little touch we had is we had music playing the entire tournament too in the background. I liked that.
Actually,
that was nice.
That was a good touch.
Yeah, a little
I
ambiance.
like that. Yeah, they had Star Wars music playing as soon as we showed up to start playing, and I was like, "This is great."
Yeah.
And one thing about that is the second I played Duel of Fates with Darth Maul, they start playing da da. I was like, "This is perfect!
Great.
Yeah,
Dude,
so,
I'm about to start killing your ass."
So thematic. Well, with that being perfect, thanks everybody, and until next time, thanks for tuning into Langer's Legion.